I got Erev Shabbos. Parshas Lech Lecha. It says in Ayim Yem. Afrei Lecha Parsha. Afrei Lecha Shabbos. We are holding in Hilchos Nedarim. I'm being Messiah in Hilchos Nedarim. The theme of Hilchos Nedarim, Perik Gimel, Halacha Chav Gimel, the Rambam writes, Misha Noda Nedarim, Kedei Lechainen De Oisov, L'Sakim Maisav, Reise Zoruz U'Meshuach. Somebody who's neider in order to fix himself, to make sure that he does things right. And he brings examples of people who are challenged. And because of their challenge, the response is to be neider. And he said, he ends up, Kulan derech Aveda, l'shem him, they're all process of Aveda. Nedarim elu ki yetze behem amru chachamim. Nedarim siyag leprecious. The Nedarim is a gateway to protect from precious. Okay, the Kesef Mishnah brings there a Gemara from Shimon HaTzadik, and that's the source. And of course, the Nedarim siyag leprecious is a Mishnah in Abbas. Okay, next halach. Not a good idea. You don't want to do something, don't do it. You don't need a net. And then finally, Allah, hey, he brings if a person makes a nether, it's like he built a bomber. It's a mitzvah to be shayl on the nether. He shouldn't have a michshel because Yichasron can be over the nether. And then he says, this halacha of mitzvah shayl is only by nidrei isur, and the hegdish is mitzvah l'kaim. Okay. Where did this halacha come from? That it's kilo b'ina b'ana? The Gemara Nedarim, a number of places, various places in Nedarim, mentioned first in Daf Chav Beis. It's the name of Rabbi Moshe Perlstein. And Rabbi Moshe says an interesting lashon. He says a little different. He doesn't bring the whole lashon. I'll talk about that soon. Hanayder ki'ilu bana bama v'makayim ki'ilu makrav olav korban. Somebody who's neider is like he built a bama. Somebody who fulfills who keeps the nether going is makrav olav korban. It's like he brought a korban on the bama. And the Vaita, the Gemara goes on and says, Shmuel says, even if you actually finish up your nether, nikra rosha. And he brings a pasuk for that. But if you do it, there is a chet. If you make a nether, there's a chet. Okay, so what's this bama? What bama are we building here? So Rashi is a chidush, but Rashi has a Yerushalmi to back it. Rashi says, "Ki lebana bama lavedas kachom." He built the bama for Avodah Zarah, and Hiktar he says he maked on Avodah Zarah, and the bama for Avodah Zarah. So Rashi is the most chumrah thing, and the Beis Yosef is mitzayin to Yerushalmi Nedarim. Nedarim Yerushalmi has how can you compare Nedarim, which is a lot, to Avodah Zarah, which is a skila. Yerushalmi answers based on. We understand it based on the Alter Rebbe explains that how in Neichel Hilchos is close Kolater Kula. Yerushalmi brings Kol Hashamei Yitzchak Yilev the Zar. Okay, that's the beer can only be understood with how Chassidus understands what Alter Rebbe explained. Anyway, so according to Rashi, there's nothing to talk about. The building a bomb is a terrible thing. Now, Rashi Yivamis uses the Lashon Kilabana Bama, B'Shas Isser Habamas. He doesn't say Avodah Zarah, as the Ran says. The Ran says Bana Bama, Shas Isra Bums. We know that Bums were mutter at certain times before the Binyan Abayas. And once the Beis Hamikdash was it's also forever, or Mishkan Shila, it was also to build Bums, but to make Bums and be macro, obviously. And he says, what's the comparison to Bum? What does it have to do with Bum? He says, because you think you're doing better. You're doing more than you're supposed to do. Supposed to bring the Bum to the Beis Hamikdash. You're doing better. Here also, you think you're asking yourself things that you, that more than what the Torah asks. And he says it's a mistake. It's like a Bum. It's supposed to be makar b'fnim, don't add. And he says, it brings the famous Yishalmi, like Dayach, Nashos Torah, you want to add, don't add. So maybe that's the comparison to Bama. It's not the Bama, it's not like it's not Avodah Zarah. It's just it's not what David wants. Okay. Both according to Rashi and according to the Ram, the Etzem Nedarim is not good. You don't build the Bama. To bring a carbon on it. Obviously, the building of the Bama is, according to Rashi, is much more chomer because there it's mamish Bama Avodah Zarah. Building a Bama Avodah Zarah is also in the binyan. According to the Ran, the binyan itself is not awesome, but it's made to be macro things. So it's not a good thing. Both of them, that means nether is not a good thing. It's interesting to note, as we'll see, in Shulchan Aruch, first of all, he adds 2 lines. Shulchan Aruch, Hilchos Nedarim, Simaresh Gimel. He starts off, Al Tihi Rogel Ben Nedarim. Then he says, Kol Nidrei, Ava Bisha Mekayme, Nikra Roshem, and Nikra Chet. Okay. Now, we noticed the Rambam did not mention Nikra Roshem and Nikra Chet. And that's based on what we saw. First, Ava Bisha Mekayme, Nikra Roshem. And also, there's a Gemara in Ayin Zayin in the Nedarim, Kol Nidrei, Ava Bisha Mekayme, Nikra Chet. And he brings the pasuk in Sev Galinda. Okay. Then a Siv Gimel in Shulchan Aruch. Haneider kilaban by the Bama b'shas Isra Bamas. Ramakaimai kilik Ravalkar. Shetay Yesu Shiish Landi. No word mitzvah. Interesting. Better that he should. It's right. He should be mashal Landi. In Siv Zion there, he writes, Misha Nodan Nedarim, Gedei Lechenein, Dei Oisav Ulesakein Maisav. Then he brings this Rambam. He brings all Rambam. Exactly word to word as the Rambam. So, if you notice, the Rambam starts off about a good idea to be neither on certain people, and then goes into when it's that it's a negative thing to do and how to. And then we shayl if you do. But the Mechaber Shulchan Aruch reverses. That's off about how terrible Nedarim are. Then ends up, but then it's okay if somebody's l'chen and die. And even there he says, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Okay, so let's read the Lashon Rambam. First of all, as we said, he skips Rosh and Chet. He only brings the first half of Rav Nassim. It doesn't bring the second half. He doesn't explain what kind of bama we're talking about. Is it a bama Avodah Zarah, bama B'Isra Bamas? And why does he reverse from the Shulchan Aruch? Now that question is not only in the order. In other words, from the Rambam it would seem that even a person who does l'chein and dracha, because he's worried about himself, it's also Kol Nidrei Kilaban Bama. That's what it sounds like. He brings that, and then he says Kol Nidrei Kilaban Bama, and including Nidrei Hegdish is Kol Nidrei Kilaban Bama, as we'll see soon. In Hilchos Erech V'Charamim, Perek Ches Halachi Beis, which we're going to still learn, the Rambam says there that even though Hegdish is Charamim, Erech is mitzvahs. Roy Leilo the Mahanigas worms. You shouldn't be a cheap scale. You should give money from yourself. But if you don't swear, it's also good. If you don't make nadar, it's good. And he brings the pasuk like Sech the Linder. The lashon is aval piken im loyig. There's loyig loyig me'elam ein bekachlo. He didn't lose anything. He said the linda loyig chachet. So you can right away see that the Rambam doesn't see in neder chet. Forget you say ein bekachlo on this pasuk. The Lechem Mishnah compares it to our sugya. That's where he says. That's where the Rambam gets it from. Again, reading the Rambam, it would seem from the way we read it that even Nidrei Hegdish is not a great idea. Now, there's a big difference, as we'll see soon between. So, it would seem from the Rambam that the Rambam does not agree with the Shulchan Aruch approach and learns that Kilabana Bama has nothing to do with Chet and Rosh. You're not a Rosh if you make a Neder, you're not a Chet. There's a halachic, Nidrei, Rishayim, Neder, because Teretz says because since it's not a good idea, as we'll see soon in the Rambam, therefore Rishayim are the ones that make the Dar, but not because it's a Rosh if you make a Neder. It's just not something that we should be doing. So like this. The Rambam stresses what is the problem? Not like the Ram, that you're doing more than you should. Not like Rashi, because the Rambam says clearly what the problem is. Kedei shelo yehei michshel lefan. And the Rambam teaches Kilabana Bamas, because you're creating a michshel. And Ulai, I don't know if that's the way he teaches, is the reason why you shouldn't make a Bama. Because if you're going to be Mekayim, it can come to an Isser, it's like Hikdal of carbon, which is the Isser. In other words, he's trying to say that's going to cause you to be over this. And that's why he doesn't bring it. He doesn't bring kilo carbon because it's not a gay kilo carbon. It's not a gay. That's only chat and kolam and that's what he says. That clearly does not agree with that. So there's nothing wrong with actual making the nether. The etzem nether is not wrong. It's the fear what the nether can come to, what the nether can cause by being over. As we said, Rashi and the Ran hold that it's not good to make a nether. Rambam also, the nether etzem is not a problem. It's just that we're afraid you're going to be over making some mixture. And therefore he learns Shad v'chisin the linda is don't come to do a chet. It's a chet. Don't come to do a chet. Stay away. And on that, so that applies to Nidrei Hegdish, Nidrei Charamim, Nidrei Erchin, and Nidrei Yisrael. Don't make another, and that's the Lashon Rambam clearly. That he says that this that I say Mitzvah Lishel, there's a difference. Why? Because there is a blessing in the Lashon Mashalim. So Nidrei Hegdish, Erchin, Charamim, you got to keep once he did it, but don't do it because he's behind Banabama. Banabama goes on everything. And it's very simple because Kadesh Le'yeh Michshel Vanu. Bottom line is, if you're not going to do it, you're going to be Irenis. So Kadesh Le'yeh don't do it. So what's the difference? Is the Hegdish and this? It's not a good idea. And therefore, he didn't have to explain which bum he's talking about. He's not talking about anything bad. So it can't be Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah is clearly something bad. The actual bum is a bum of Avodah Zarah. You don't build a bum of Avodah Zarah. It's also to build a bum of Avodah Zarah. Teretz says it's obviously making a bama b'shas Yisrael bamas, and then he says, "What's the problem? You can come to a michshel." And therefore, his order is very good because it's anything. He starts off speaking about the Ma'ila. There's definitely a good thing about the Dar. Not a bad thing, according to Rambam. That was a good thing. Of us, there's a fear in the Dar. A fear that it should come a michshel. So and that goes on every nether, any nether, what's up, even the good nadar, the fear. And according to the Rambam, because it's a fear, mitzvah lishon. It's not a side point. Mitzvah lishol, it's a mitzvah to do. The note that even though the Rambam says that don't make a neder, a yifresh medvarim shoroi lifresh membelei neder, stay away from it without a neder. However, in Hilchos Nedarim, the Rambam says that a person comes along and says that is davar derech ra, so he's going to say, I'm going to stay away from eating, I'm going to bust all the things that he said. So he says that's called a chayk. Because there he brings that the Torah is leidayich. That's where he brings that leidayich that we mentioned before. Leidayich mashas Torah. But that's the difference is there he's doing it because he just doesn't have to do with the belt. Belt is dangerous. He doesn't know how to do with it. Here, it's not doing it because he doesn't know how to do with the belt. It's because he's having a challenge. He's having a hard time. There he says, stay away from things. I mentioned last year about this, but we just came from Hataras and Torah, and specifically Kol Nidrei. I want to mention an interesting thing. Shibeile Aleket, say the Yom Kippur, Siman Shin Yud Zayin, regarding Kol Nidrei, he writes, V'yesh regilin levarech al mitzvahs heter nedarim u'shur. Meaning that on Erev, I'll be right before Kol Nidrei, they would say a bracha. I'll have mitzvahs heter nedarim u'shur. I should get it shown and say son on mitzvahs heter nedarim u'shur. And he writes, I hope it's not a good thing, it's a bracha latal. I saw somebody bring down that there was someone who was in Rome, and he found an old machzer that has in it the bracha. The bracha of al mitzvahs heter nedarim u'shur. So, hey, what's the mitzvah? Right? Why, as we spoke last week, the Indian is, there's no mitzvah to go be matzah. This mitzvah is to, the mitzvah is to be lodun b'din nedarim, as the Rambam says. So we got to something else. The Rambam says in Hilchos Shabbos that you're allowed to be shoyel in nedarim, chacham and nedarim on Shabbos because they're tzorech HaShabbos. And he writes nedarim elu mitzvah. So I saw that. From Boston says that that's this Rambam. He wants to compare. Then he has a kash on it, but the Nekuda, the words are good. So, as the Rambam says, mitzvah. And I can't remember. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say mitzvah. The Rambam says mitzvah. So you can say the same thing here. That the mitzvah that they made a bracha on was based on this Rambam. Mitzvah lishol on the kadesh le'er michshel. It's only lahosed michshel, which is a whole discussion whether you're allowed. You can make a bracha lahosed michshel. Okay, first of all, it's not so poshut that this is the exact case of lahosed michshel, but the Rambam does paskin that when you make a maikah, you make a bracha. Why? Why some michshel yes, some michshel no? That's not for our discussion here. But al kaponim, the Rambam's mitzvah could be, it's like a real mitzvah. It's the real stuff. That's what comes out. Agutnev Shabbos, Hatzlacha Rabbah, and Zayt Gesund Stark. And we'll Hashem continue as Hashem.